Hello, my pretties, and how are you? Well, today I have something a little different for you. I want you all to know about, the different things about taking tea. Now, I know most of the time, most of you think that it has to be very formal, a dress, a fascinator, gloves, and the whole nine. But really, you can take tea with just a nice blouse, pair of pants. Sometimes you can even wear jeans with a beautiful blouse and maybe some heels. So today I'm a little bit dressed down just so that you can see that taking tea does not always have to be formal. Now I have this blazer on because it's a little bit chilly. But anyway, today I have something really interesting but helpful to all of our ladies and even our gentlemen. And that is, and I'm going to use my notes as well, okay? Now, I want to talk to you all today about how to be a classy lady, whether you're taking tea or not. Okay, so I'm going to give you 10 things that you want to consider when you are out or when you just want to be a lady. You know, a lot of times I've had people to ask me, Miss Carol, I want you to help me to be a lady. Well, it's more than just someone telling you just how to be a lady, but what I'm going to share with you today will kind of get you started and it will help. Okay, so are you ready? All right, tip number one. Tip number one is to be punctual. Now, a lot of times, some people have reputations of being late, always. That is a no-no. That is not ladylike to be late on purpose. If that's part of your reputation, to be late, you might want to drop that off and leave it where it is. And especially if you are taking tea, it's important that you arrive to your tea event on time, especially if someone invited you, because they're going to be pouring tea. Okay, but you also want to be on time if someone invites you, because their time is important. Like they say, time is money and money is time. So you don't want to take anyone for granted. However, if you're running late, make sure you give them a call to let them know that you're in traffic or that something is going on that's detaining you, so that if they want to do something else in the meantime, they can. It's just about respect and consideration. Okay? All right, tip number two is keep your word. If you tell someone you're going to do something, try your best, if at all, to do it. Your word is your bond. That's an old saying. So, again, make sure that if you tell someone you're going to do something, it's called integrity. So make sure you follow through. Tip number three, be gracious. Okay, we always want to treat other people how we want to be treated. So make sure you're kind to others, but also make sure that you set boundaries for yourself. Just because you're kind doesn't mean that you allow people to run over you or to step on you. Okay, because we all have our own boundaries and standards for ourselves. So you can set those, but just make sure that you're always gracious. Okay? All right, tip number 4. Use the word please and thank you. A lady always says, please, would you please pass me the salt and pepper? Or would you please allow me to introduce a friend? As well as saying thank you. If someone holds the door for you, please say thank you. I remember my son, who was young, said that he came home one day and he was like, Mom, I held the door for one of my teachers and she didn't even say thank you. Wow, what an example from an adult. So let's be thoughtful and mindful of when people do things for you, that we say and use the words please and thank you. Okay, tip number 5. Always dress appropriately for the setting. If you don't know what to wear, I would say to give them a call, a text message, just to ask what the attire is if it's not already on the invitation. If you're going to a place that you've never been before, it's better to be overdressed than underdressed. So always try to make sure that you present your best when you're out somewhere, especially if you're not sure where you're going. Okay, tip number 6, put your smartphone down. A lot of times, we're hanging out with other people. It could be lunch, dinner, just being with another human being. And we find ourselves always having our phone out. Now, if you know that you're expecting a call, you may want to tell the person that you're waiting or that you are entertaining that, hey, I'm expecting a phone call, from a guest, a client, whomever. Let them know, and you might keep your phone out. And then when the call comes in, you excuse yourself, you go answer that call, and then you come back and you put your phone away. Okay, so you're asking these tips about how to be a lady. This is being a lady, not having your phone just sitting out waiting to get on, I got my phone and I'm getting ready to, yeah, girl, uh-huh. And you're busy talking on your phone, looking at your phone, looking at text messages, Instagram, Facebook, or whatever. No, put your phone away. All right, tip number 7. Now, if you're a person who drinks, I am suggesting that you be mindful of the number of drinks that you consume. If you're not very comfortable being out in the public, or you're not really sure how you might respond in any given situation after drinking alcohol, I would say just limit your drinks maybe to 1, maybe 2. But you definitely want to be mindful not to be drinking while you're around professionals or a business setting. Okay, tip number 8, be socially aware of others around you. Don't be so self-absorbed. If someone says, how are you? Instead of just saying, I'm fine, then you should ask them, how are they doing? Or if you see someone, you speak. People like being around other people who are interested in them as well. So it's like playing tennis. You say something and they say something back. You want to keep the conversation going. You ask questions about them. That makes them more interesting. It makes them interested in you. Okay, number 9, tip number 9, learn how to get in and out of a car. Now, I've seen a lot of women, we see a lot of women with these short mini dresses on, sky-high heels. And then when they get into the car, their legs are gapped open. Sometimes you can see inside of their dress. It just looks really tacky. So you want to be mindful and careful as to how you get in and out of your car. So when you get into a car, you want to make sure that you place both feet flat on the ground, put your knees together, and you want to turn with your knees together to get inside of the car. And when it's time to get out, you put your knees together. You may have to hold on to the headrest. You turn your knees, making sure they stay together, and then take them out and then stand. So the main key is to keep your knees together when you're entering the car and exiting, especially from the rear. Okay? All right, tip number 10, our last tip. It says learn how to dine correctly and how to use those table manners. Now, as the founder and director of the Elite School of Etiquette, we do host an adult dining workshop. I believe it's every Monday, the first Monday of each month. So if you're not really sure about table manners and dining skills, you can join me as I lead our adult dining session. I think you will learn a lot. I've had quite a few adults to say, oh, I know all the tips and tricks. Well, once I start asking them questions about dining, a lot of them are like, oh, I didn't know those things. So I think it would be a good idea for any woman who's not really sure, maybe she learned when she was a lot younger, to come in and get refreshed, go over some things, make sure you're up to par, and so that you'll be able to dine with confidence. All right, so I have given you 10 tips on how to be a classy lady, whether you're taking tea or not. So thank you for joining me. I look forward to you all joining me next week. And thank you again for joining me at Sitting Pretty with Carol.